All right. It's a very wide screen, to be honest. Super duper wide. I guess it's good though.
What?
It's probably better that it's wide. No, no closer is required.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. So hopefully everybody can see us. Makes the fire look tiny though. This looks ridiculous. I'm just gonna zoom
Oh,
in
that
just a
is
smidge.
odd.
Oh, come on, camera. No, that's not right. That is not right. That's not right. That's too much.
That what? I look like I'm 5,000
There.
pounds on this thing.
5,000. I know the camera.
It's a
The
weird camera lens.
yeah. Let's move the camera back a little.
Ugh.
Oh, is it okay?
I don't look like this in real life.
Nah, it's a weird wide lens.
Yeah, it doesn't have a normal lens?
It does. I just don't know how to use it.
What?
I really don't. Well, that's fine. That's fine. I think it's fine. It's cold outside. We're inside.
I'm already wheeling around.
What's that?
I got spinnies. Oh, it's gone now.
Make sure to put it on the lowest quality video setting.
How do I do that?
It should be a little dot on the top right or something. A menu thing.
I'm on 480p.
Yeah, just put it down to 144.
145. And why do I do this?
Uses less bandwidth, saves it up for the live stream.
Oh, I see. Wait, mate, you don't look big. I look so much larger than you.
I don't think you do.
I do. I shouldn't be wearing a bulky sweater. I should be wearing skin tight clothes or something.
Bikini time.
This is not a flattering camera for Jenny.
Oh, settle down. Nobody cares.
Well, I've been working hard. It looks terrible.
It's true, you have been working very hard.
Yeah.
Okay, so horsey stuff. I don't know how many people saw the salmon video, but we got that today. That was fun. Just a little fun thing. Brenda's getting something on the other stream. Hello. Wrong stream, Brenda. Come to this one.
Oh, she's on the salmon video?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello, she writes. The salmon video is just something I was testing and playing with, and then there's like 15-minute notice. Do live stream. It's Jen's idea. I would have just lazed around and recuperated.
Wow.
So now I gotta
Recuperated. But you're still
sit
lazing
around
Just use
talk.
your mouth.
Zeus, come here. Come. Come. Where's the mouse? Zeus, come.
Like, oh man.
Yeah. You've had a hard life today
I
too.
was so comfy cozy.
Jump. Good boy. All right, Zeus. Everybody loves you too, so you have to be in the live stream. Yeah. Good boy. Have a sleep. Tired.
That was a long walk from 5 feet
You
away.
have to come a long ways. It's true. Take it easy, buddy. Take it easy. Have a rest. It's at least 15 feet. Hey.
His feet, maybe.
Yeah. So, busy day. Super busy day. We got a lot of stuff done. A lot of things that I've been trying to clear out the last couple of days, which has delayed everything else. Jen generally makes fun of me on my timelines that I set.
Why are they in quotes?
This is going to take 1 hour to do. We'll be done in 3 hours. We'll be done in 3 hours for sure. Just another hour.
One more day.
I'll do this. I'll definitely get this all done tomorrow.
But you were actually underrated or underestimated. Or overestimated, I should say. The gutters today. You thought it would take longer than it did. So
3
that was a
hours.
plus. Yeah.
3 hours is not what it took.
Yeah, it was faster. So that
But
was
that's
good.
because we had the corners. Put
Yeah.
gutters in, and they're. I don't know if anybody here has done gutters for a corner, but you can actually just buy the corners, and then just done. And so you just put it together like Lego, pretty much. It's much easier. So we've got an inside fire today.
Inside fire.
It's too cold outside. I don't know what the temperature. I think it's about -1.
It's cold.
No,
What
it's
is
not
that?
minus anything. It's probably
No.
1 degree, 2 degree,
Yeah.
or something. It's just chilly. It's not nearly as comfortable as summertime. Um, so we're inside because got the inside fireplace.
It's 6 degrees.
6 degrees outside.
Oh.
Well, that's according to that. But if we
Yeah.
look on the temperature thing,
Sorry.
it's got to be colder. Well, see now.
Google's lying to us.
Google doesn't lie. It just takes a temperature from the airport.
Well, it says Maple Ridge 6 degrees.
They can't get that right. There's no way there's a not a temperature there.
I don't think it's working again.
It is 6 degrees.
I can't make it work.
It's actually 6 degrees.
Yeah, well, we'll just say that once the camera's working.
Oh, I'm sure it's working for everybody else.
Is this me? No, it's literally not working at all. Is yours working?
I don't know. I don't play the video.
Oh,
Just don't play the video.
I got swirly burls.
Just don't play it. Pause it. It's fine. If
Well, I
anybody
know, but then
complains
I
and it
know it's
isn't
not
working,
working.
it's working.
All right.
The internet here sucks though.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Too many. Too many
David,
connected
yes,
devices.
I got my hair chopped off, and I was not very happy about it.
I
But
got a haircut too, man.
oh, jeez, it's got to be about you, eh? Yeah, I don't cut my hair very often. I'm just lazy and low maintenance, and I usually don't really care. They can cut it, but she really chopped it off, which I wasn't a fan of. So now it'll just grow it again. I think my last haircut had been a year and a half before, so I'm very low maintenance. But yes, thank you for noticing. Air conditioning got turned off. Jeez, yeah. Oh, and in case you missed it, Grim says, I'm right, it's 6 degrees.
Okay, so there should only be 3 devices connected right now.
Oh.
Should be good.
David says he noticed your haircut too.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, and he told you in person
He did.
yesterday.
I know.
You just need more and more
It's just-
attention,
You
eh?
have to say it on.
You have to say it to me too.
Just kidding.
What about me?
My haircut yesterday, in case anybody cares.
One of us is low maintenance and one of us is not.
I'm good. Zeus.
Did you get a haircut?
He did not get a haircut.
No.
He is the
He
same as always.
needs one. It's stinky.
Hi, buddy. You even see Zeus in the picture? Yeah, you
Yeah,
can.
of course you can. Although I don't know, I'm just looking at whirly birds, so I don't know.
Good boy, Zeus. Be good. Whatever you're
Hey,
doing.
Kimberly!
So, what do we get done today? We got some fencing done. We
Ooh,
got
posts
some
in, and then some
beautifying of the wash station after David and I finished up the wall. We haven't done the electrical yet. No time for that.
Cleaned up the wood.
Cleaned up all the wood.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did a lot of the blew out leaves.
oh yeah. Because it's Groundhog Day for me. Day.
I was like, what? I like
Every
it,
day
yeah.
is cleaning leaves. The same leaves. The same leaves.
You know, the thing we didn't organize, I
Hate it.
noticed, is that I cleaned out all the waters and then you decided to blow all the leaves out. That was definitely done in the wrong order.
Yeah, but I didn't blow them into the waters much.
Every
So-
single water I went to, I'm so particular about their
Well,
waters.
It's just tea.
No, it's not. It's
Tea.
dirty leaves and my poor horse's water.
No, it's tea.
Yeah.
Horses love tea.
What else did we do?
Natural
I feel
forest
like we
tea.
did more though.
Oh,
Gutters.
man.
Gutters, huh?
Yeah. A lot of cleanup, a lot of organization, making sure things are ready for, constantly ready. And anybody who owns a piece of property, or if you manage a horse property of some sort, you have to be aware of how important it is to keep up on things, whether it's general maintenance, fence repairs, or cleanup of branches and stuff if you live in your area where there's trees and stuff like that, down to making sure that pathways are clear, leaves are regularly cleaned up, because it all just turns to mud and muck, and we can't have mud and muck. We're a no mud and muck
Yeah,
sort of place.
yeah. I mean, because that just leads to horse issues, everything. It's just not good.
Horses have all kinds of problems when
Yeah.
they live in the muck.
We cleaned out the pond.
Clean the
Oh, you
pond.
did the paddock. Paddock. Well, I
Oh,
was cleaning
totally
the
rebuilt
yeah.
Lena's paddock.
Yeah. That was a big deal.
Footing, finally, as I said in the last live stream that I needed to get to. So that got completely redone. That was over an hour job. And then cleaned up that middle garden area. Finally got all the leaves cleared out so the drainage works properly. Because pretty soon it's going to start raining nonstop.
You think? I thought
It
it
always
was just
does.
dry. No, we've had some drier years.
And so because it rains, I mean, even if it rains a full day, like it has recently, the water's got to go somewhere. And so that has to make sure to be clear. Otherwise, just get stuff that just keeps jamming in there. Actually, I think we do need to clean out the pipe that goes from the pond to that drainage ditch. I think it's stopping up a bit.
Yeah. All right.
So I might need to get the hose and just flush it out.
And a big. There's
A
two
stick.
questions. One question?
Sure, I
first-
love questions.
Well, the first one's funny, or I don't know if they meant to be funny, but is the wash station going to be used for Zeus as well? The answer is no, because Graham does not bathe Zeus, and I would never. You do not
true.
wash him, and I would never wash him outside.
All the time.
Yeah, Pinocchio, you're gonna blow out your camera, and I only wash him inside because I think he deserves warm water, so he wouldn't be washed outside. I mean, when we went to go look at the fish today, which we have done many times in the past with Zeus, he has.
Well, the salmon, not the fish in the pond.
Yeah, the salmon. He has rolled in dead salmon many a time. That he gets washed outside at first. It is gross.
He first gets his life threatened.
Oh.
And then he gets put in solitaire.
We had to take him in a car once, and that was he
Oh,
got
it
bathed
was
5
so
times in one day
gross.
before I actually was told that the best thing to use on a dog, if they do this, if they have the fish smell, is dish soap. And you actually have to lather them up and then let them sit for about 20 minutes. Because it breaks down the oils, especially whatever that brand is, the blue one that they use on the animals with the oil slicks, right? Whatever that one is, not
That's just good marketing.
no,
Soap
it
is soap.
is not. Anyway, it breaks it down. They said dish soap. We used palm olive on him because that's what I had on hand. But if he were to do that,
This
he'd
is
be
not a
washed
sponsored
outside.
segment.
No, exactly. But
We should
anyway,
get a
other
hold
than
of
that,
though.
my princess dog gets washed only inside. And then the next question I always find so interesting is about horses, because we talk about this all the time. So I said, do horses ever get too cold even with winter coats, and do you use blankets, or are they necessary?
Who's asking?
KK Doc.
Kathy. Well, Kathy, blanketing's a big topic. Very, very common question. And because so many people are answering this question nowadays, there's a big shift actually that's been happening. And less people are blanketing their natural horses. So there's plenty of people out there who exercise their horses a lot. They're more sport horses, they're performance horses, and they will clip them so that when they're doing their sporty performance stuff with their big shaggy thick coat, they're not sweating like crazy and then going back into the cold to where it's felt that there is a problem for them to cool off in the cold. They get really cold and shivery and all kinds of stuff like that, which is no good. I think I can hear it. Are you playing it? I think I can hear my voice.
No,
I don't like my voice.
it's not. And you're
when
insane.
You
have a
back.
lovely voice, but no, it's on mute, so you just hear your own voice ringing in your head
all the time.
Lucky
All
you.
the time. I call myself names and.
Oh yeah, right. The greatest.
No, I'm always mad at myself. You idiot! What'd you do? What did we do today? I did something. It was really dumb. I was like, why did I do that for? What an idiot! It was a big mistake too. It was a big one. That's stupid. Or
the posts when we have them the wrong distance apart.
Yes, the posts. Oh, anyways, we put some posts in today as well, and maybe 3 or 4. 4, I think.
4.
Because there's an end one. So the forest paddock is getting finally worked on. Hopefully finished. Gotta build a shelter in there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's $1,000. So 800 bucks, I think, actually. It's less than 1,000. It's gonna cost 1,000. Because I've got all the mat. Oh, I don't really have all the mats.
No.
I could probably steal from Lena's once that's all hardened up.
Hmm.
Anyhow, blankets, right. So, without any clipping, without any health issues, it is generally been um, discovered or learned or relearned or scientifically proven that horses do not need blankets. Um, if they have certain circumstances, certain needs met. The first need is shelter, somewhere to get out of the rain. Because the primary reason that horses will get cold is because they're all wet, either from rain or snow. Um, and then uh, they get pretty chilly pretty quick. It's cold out and windy, and or windy. So shelter is a necessity no matter what, whether it's summertime or not. Some horses will stand out in the rain and get all wet and get a bath or whatever they're doing. Um, but plenty of them will choose to be in shelter, under cover. So shelters are any place that horses are kept at, I believe, 100% must have shelters. If they don't have shelters, I think it's a problem. I think it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And for many reasons, and one of them being that they get pretty chilly and it gets cold and they get soaking wet and they can't dry off. They can't heat up enough. So plenty of times they'll have shelter. They'll go out into the rain and they'll finish getting whatever wet or whatever they're doing. They go into the shelter and you'll see them steaming off. They create so much heat they just steam off the water. It just evaporates off them. They dry quick. Horses dry very quickly. And in fact, I've done a couple of my own sort of off studies of how long it takes a hoof to dry out. And so other people have done them as well, but I've sort of verified myself. Anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes in a dry condition, that hoof will just, a healthy hoof. And then it goes into the studies about whether or not they should be shod. If they're shod, what happens? If they're not shod, what happens? We'll get into that. But healthy hoofs, they just dry out. So the body itself also dries out. So the second need that horses have to stay warm, a lot like us, is they require an input of energy. So they need to be feeding. And that essentially is the fuel that keeps the fire going. Like the fire. You don't put any wood in there, no fire. You don't put any hay in a horse, no heat. And so in a combination of shelter, you must have food. Those two items become 100% necessities, essentially, and in turn, they'll grow a healthy coat, they'll fluff up, and stay warm. Now, the last part of blanketing comes down to how the hair follicles work. They work a lot like ours in that the hair will stand up. That's why when you go up to a horse that's been standing around or it's cold or something like that, they'll look rather puffy and fluffy looking. I gotta hug them or what. Maybe that's just me. But they'll look very fluffy. And ones that are warm will not. They'll actually just look like they kind of have long hair. But the ones that look really fluffy and puffy like a dandelion puffball or something, I mean, they're just fluffy. It's crazy. They're cold. And essentially what happens is the hair follicles will stand up through an effect called piloerection. So the ability for the hair to stand up when it's cold is there so that between the air that's up here and the body that's down here, if my fingers are the hair, the body's here. The warmth that's created here and the cold that is here, there becomes this insulation barrier. And so without the ability to create this effect, the hair standing up, there's no insulation. So if this gets matted down either through water or blanketing, there's no insulation. Now, some blankets are very fluffy and warm and stuff like that, but rain sheets are useless for this. In fact, they will make horses worse. It's proven they make horses worse because it mats down the hair, and rain sheets have zero um, warmth to them, no insulation value whatsoever. And so then the other one also is a blanket that is really wet. So horses that have blankets on, people with blankets on them, stick them out in the field with no shelter. They're like, well, my horse has got a blanket on. The blanket gets very, very wet. Some of them are waterproof, but a lot of times the horses will quickly wear that stuff off by rolling in gravel or sand, and it just wears down the fabric to where it's not really waterproof anymore. And it's heavy now, so all of this just lays right down flat onto the skin, and then you've got this heavy blanket on there that likely doesn't have a lot of insulation value. Um, and if it stays wet, then it just, I mean, I pulled blankets off that feel like they weigh close to 100 pounds.
Luke's used to be.
Yeah.
And it was brand new.
Not 100 pounds. I
But
mean,
no,
pretty
but
heavy.
we had
60
we
pounds
had
or
just
so.
bought it, so it was,
Yeah.
it's new.
It was new, but it was not having any effect anymore.
No.
And that was a long time ago, and I
Yeah.
really started to look into it a lot, discovering the science of it. So it's a bit of a long answer to a question, but I really want to make sure I tackle it fully so that there isn't any gaps if you ever were to need to answer this question to anybody who were to ask you. But essentially, when those blankets get heavy and they're wet and they don't have that insulation factor and the piloerection cannot happen, horses will actually get colder. You might as well have just left the thing off. It would have, if they didn't have shelter, it would have the same effect, except that they wouldn't have this 60 to 100 pound blanket sitting on their neck and their back and sort of stuck around them. No, we never blanket ever because all the horses here have food 24/7 and all the horses here have shelter. They don't go without.
There's 2 sidebar questions.
Hopefully that answers it, Kathy. If it doesn't answer your question, ask something more. That'd be totally cool.
We are, so that's why I'm telling you this.
Oh, Kathy's got more questions.
What triggers a winter coat to start growing? Shorter days, cooler weather.
Science has shown us that shorter days trigger the, not colder days, but shorter days trigger the hair growth. They haven't found that there's a correlation of cold weather that does it, although there is a direct correlation to how much daylight you have to whether it gets colder. But they seem to have found that the less daylight, the fact that we go past the summer solstice for another month, it kind of stays warm because there is without going into all the science about it, but there's a delayed effect to it. So it stays warmer for a little while, but then it starts to get colder. That lessening of daylight seems to trigger something in their brains and their bodies that says, grow more hair, be fluffy. It's hugging season.
So how do they figure that out?
How does the body figure it out? Good question. I
think
think that a lot of people would love to know that, but obviously evolution has designed all of us, all creatures, to survive by doing a particular thing. The ones that didn't do it died. The ones that did survived, and those genetics carry on to the next generation. So that's the very basics of evolution. I don't know if we should get into evolution and all those kinds of things of why humans are the way they are and why animals are the way they are.
And Kimberly was asking about why we don't have sides on the shelters, and I had sort of said that because most of ours were designed to allow escape because you don't like hard corners.
Kimberly, good question. You have your horse at a place where it is perpetually windy. We live in a forest, so our trees are our sides. It doesn't get cold enough here. It doesn't get windy enough here. It is not regularly windy enough to put, as Jen said, a high enough value on sides of the buildings versus open and free get out on any angle. Because a lot of our paddocks are 1 or 2 horse.
Yeah.
Every one of our paddocks has handled more than 1 horse at a time. Except for maybe Peggy's right now. That's probably never had 2 horses.
Yeah.
But every other
But it
paddock.
could.
Oh, Peggy's?
I know it's slanty and stuff, but
it could, but
like Alina and Mac. Good.
Maybe, yeah.
We wouldn't, but you
totally
could.
get
Yeah,
trashed.
we wouldn't, but it could.
Yeah.
If something happened and our whole back area got flooded, and you had to
Had
put
to
two
bring them up.
horses in,
Yeah, we put them.
you could. Yeah.
But the idea, when you have more than one horse, you need to have more than one escape route. So just having a front on can actually trap a horse out. And at the very least, they'll be able to sneak in one side or the other side or to the front or something like that. And so the three sides open concept, which most, I guess all of the, no, not not Gracie's. Gracie's only has two. It
Two.
had three, but we locked up it.
Yeah.
So for the most part, they all have three sides open, which is more versatile. So the value for putting on walls on every side was not high enough versus the value of having freedom so that horses can move around. We don't get cold enough, we don't get windy enough, it doesn't, it's not required. So, but if I was where you are, I would absolutely have my shelter built so that my walls are 90% of the time facing the way the wind comes from. So that's what I would do. Why does my phone keep beeping? I'm betting. Yep.
What?
I have one particular person on Instagram that posts everything in a private message, and she's listening right now. But she's asked if it's cool that she just post privately to Instagram. And I said yes, no problem at all. So she says hello, and she says, "Why don't you shoe your horses?" And she's asking about the Lena story. Lena story is coming. It's coming.
She's not alone. There are others.
There's a bunch of Lena story people. You people, calm down. Honestly, I'm working on working at the moment, and so I wanted to, like I said at the very beginning of this live stream, where Jen has made fun of me for like, oh, I'll make sure to get this done tomorrow. I'm not that good at figuring out time, so forgive me for now. Just be patient. The Lena story is it's a night. I've said quite a bit of it. I just want to put some visuals to it. So for me to say the story here, it really wouldn't do justice to the story to be told. So be patient. She's worth it.
Oh, I said you're very creative, so you
Yeah.
have it.
I've had a lot of ideas, and even David said, "How do you sleep at night, man?"
That's creative people, and that's cool.
Yeah, because David and I will be sitting at the picnic table over a coffee. I'm like, "Dude, I've got this idea, and I've got this other idea, and what do you think of it?" And he looks at me and he says, "How do you even sleep at night?" And anyway, so I got a lot of ideas. It's true. I don't know if half of them will come together. She says, "Okay, okay, shoot. Do we have any questions before that for shoeing? Goodness, because shoeing's a big one." I had a conversation actually. Oh, today, yeah. Ruli's owner was here, and we were talking about hoof stuff, as commonly happens. People will ask about abscesses or hoof problems, or when good things are happening, what it looks like, and all that kind of stuff. And so shoeing comes up an awful lot. I get quite a few people who call me up to say they've heard that I'm okay with what I do, kind of idea, and they're wondering if I can come take off the shoes that their horse has. And I think I've done 3 in just the last couple of weeks or so, which is more than usual, to be honest. Okay, why don't shoe the horses? Now it would be unfair for me to just stick it in a nutshell and say, well, shoes are bad and barefoot is good. Um, I think that it is oversimplification of a situation where for hundreds of years we've done something. Shoeing. We've done shoeing hundreds of years. And it is generally accepted as acceptable, as not only acceptable, as recommended even for many people. And there are plenty of people who still say, if you don't shoe your horse, you're doing them a disservice. And there are many that say, well, either's fine. And then there's a growing amount of people that say shoeing is bad and unhealthy and all that kind of stuff. So I want to try to provide some kind of measured uh, response to a very good question. It's very commonly asked. None of our horses here have shoes. In fact, I have a rule that horses that come here do not have shoes on. And it isn't because I'm trying to push an agenda of some sorts. It's that I don't want any of my horses hurt through being kicked by something that's shod. I don't want my footing destroyed by something that's shod. And I don't want the horses to catch their feet on a fence or a hay net because they're shod. Um,
Sorry, don't let me forget. Kimberly asked a question about hay bags.
okay, hay bag question coming up.
Do you want more?
Sure. Is it any good?
It's good. It's a very good brand. It's Church and State.
Thanks. I don't even feel it. It's like juice. The other stuff is better.
What? You're insane. The other one. Anyway, to me, it's garbage. This Church and State is one of the.
It's all right. The other stuff is
Right.
better. So, if I were to simplify my answer, first, I would say I know enough not to shoe my horses. I know enough science, and I have enough proof, and I've seen enough studies out there to tell me help me make a decision that shoeing my horses is not what I want. So I'm not trying to push the agenda, but I don't want certain things happening. And so there are enough horses out there that there's absolutely no problem filling this place up with things that are not shod. Every once in a while we'll get one, my horse is shod. I was thinking of taking the shoes off, but I'm not sure, so maybe I won't. And so that's fine, no problem. We've got plenty more that are here.
Oh, squeak, squeak.
Yeah, I keep meaning to hear all that, but I don't know if it'll help. We don't because I feel like it's a bad idea. So let me extrapolate a little bit more on why I think it's a bad idea. Or not why I think it is, or why I know it is probably a better way to put it. Because I don't also want to be wishy-washy about the idea of shoeing. I do not shoe. I don't recommend shoeing. I don't want people to shoe their horses. Because there are so many other options out there to get the same result, although it requires a different amount of effort. And then you'd have to say, well, what is that effort and what value do I get out of it compared to shoeing? And so the simplest alternative for shoeing, if you needed some kind of hoof protection, because then we think about what's the value, what's the reason we put a shoe on a horse, and it's so to theoretically protect the hoof wall, protect the bottom of the foot from being sore or tender or ouchy, whatever word you want to use for that, and have them walk out better. And there are alternatives to that. They're a little bit more put the effort and onus on the owner than to put the effort onto the once every 6 weeks farrier. But I think that should be normal. I think that the norm of trusting somebody every 6 weeks to deal with your horse's hooves and problems that they have, compared to dealing with it on a daily or weekly basis by the person that owns the horse, is a more responsible approach to horse husbandry. So if we pile that into the reasons of why I think that shoeing is not as good as idea as having them barefoot or to use alternative hoof protection, that's another one of them. I think that horse husbandry is very important, as you guys have seen in about a cajillion of my videos. We do a horsey check. Horsey check happens all the time, 5-6 times a day. At least I'm out checking You check fences, you check health, you check hay, you check water, you check poops. You check to see if there's any wounds. You check to see if they're unhappy. You check to see if they're laying down. You check to see if they're drinking water. Um, all part of responsible horse husbandry. So that's what I advocate that. It doesn't mean everybody has to do it. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot to do. I happen to live here. The horses are here with me. I live with my horses. I can wake up in the middle of the night and go pet them. I can go check on them anytime I want. It doesn't mean that everybody has to do that, but I would say that that is the goal. That is the standard to attain. And as such, shoes become horrendously obsolete in such a case.
Did you see the question from Kathy about why do so many horse shows and competitions require shoeing? I don't know if you'd already
I'm not done my shoeing conversation just
sorry.
yet, but don't be sorry. I haven't looked at anything.
I had to leave.
I haven't looked at anything. I've just been talking. So, with the idea that somebody's letting off fireworks, with the idea that I consider sort of a more active form of horse husbandry, maintained, and so as such, I went and learned how to trim and take care of my horse's hooves really early on. I was very unhappy with the very first horse that I had that was shod. And the horse was just getting worse and worse and worse. So there was something to be said for the fact that I had a really garbage farrier, and I would never say who this person is. I don't want anybody to know. I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody, but this person sucked. She's terrible. The horse was just getting worse and worse. She would get more and more ouchy. She would trip more and more till pretty soon she wasn't walking anywhere. I asked her, I said, what's going on with my horse? Why is she getting worse? And I didn't know until much later of why she was getting worse. But partway through, I said, you need to take your shoes off. I'm going to deal with this myself. And I just learned till where I am now. But early on, I learned how to take care of hooves and why to take care of hooves and everything that kind of goes on with that. And the fact that I wasn't able to get any of the answers that I know now out of the farrier that I had at the time is further conclusive proof that she did not have the skills to do anything seemingly other than to chuck a piece of iron on the bottom of a horse's hoof, and not very well at that. So, and I have pictures of it, pictures and video, because I started to, as I do now, regularly journal my horse's health through pictures or video, obviously. So the alternative to shoeing is boots. I've discussed it in many videos in the past. They're rubber and plastic composite sort of thing. It's very flexible. It fits on, and it's usually quite skin tight. If you've ever seen any of the Gracie videos for the last 4 or 5 months or so, I've been booting her, and then I started to glue on boot her, and it's going miles. One of her feet is just great. The other one I expect to come out of a boot pretty soon, I guess. And in theory, all should be done. I'm hoping I don't have to do it again, but I don't have any problems doing it one more time because I'm not putting any holes in the hoof. I'm not trimming it flat to accommodate a shoe like a lot of farriers will do. They'll trim and trim off sole. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm simply doing the equivalent of putting a sneaker on. So I consider that a much better way to protect the hoof. So I don't shoe my horses, one, because I feel like I have a more regular and attentive horse husbandry practice of making sure my horses' hooves are taken care of regularly through observation of whether they're doing okay visually, to actually taking a look and cleaning them up, and then understanding if there's any thrush problems, any bar problems, any sole problems, any hoof wall problems. What else? White line. There's all kinds of things that could go wrong. So then I've learned how to fix that. So all the horses here don't have shoes on. Because the other part of it is that I fixed so many hooves out there that had shoes on that it actually has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that they had shoes on. That was the problem. So I can I could probably go on for quite a while. I can absolutely 100% back up all of my words that I'm saying here. Again, I'm not trying to vilify farriers or anybody who puts shoes on. It's totally up to you. Hopefully, it's done in a very healthy way. There are some healthy ones out there, and very well kept ones, very well trimmed ones, high performance farriers that have done a lot of studying in the biology of the horse's hoof and know not to continue to cause flaring or to continue to hit the quick or essentially put a nail through the sensitive lamina, things like that. So and properly balance the things. Most of the time, they're so poorly balanced. It'd be the equivalent of putting a wedge on one side of your shoe and trying to walk around on that. Or high heels, for example, which are terrible for people's feet. So, anyways, that's why I don't shoe my horses. Hopefully, that answers the question. Good question. What was the performance one? Why do they do it in? Oh, I don't know, Kathy. It's a good question, isn't? Don't you think? I mean, think about how often they say that you must have a particular bridle, you must have a particular set of reins, you must have a particular bit in a particular horse's mouth, you must wear spurs, so on and so forth. I mean, it is literally built off of an archaic form of horsemanship that should not be advocated. You can do it if you want to, kind of thing, but don't force people to do things that they can do probably better without all that stuff. So I don't know. I think that people live in the Stone Age a little bit sometimes. There was what was it? There was a funny little. I didn't watch the video, but it was on. I think it was on Facebook, and it was making fun of the Melbourne Cup. I think it was. There's a horse race coming up. I think it's in New York or something, and it says, and the caption was the horse race that stops the nation, and then below that, from evolving beyond the medieval ages or something. Uh, there's ways to do things that have evolved far past what it's been done for so long. Why they make it a rule? I mean, my theory is that the people who are making the rules can't do it, so they force everybody else to do what they're doing.
That's I think.
It's changing.
Yeah, I think it's changing.
It's changing.
Because people are proving more and more that you don't need all the mouthpieces and all that stuff. You can do things in halters.
Oh, I've seen some terrible pictures.
Things are changing
Terrible
slowly,
pictures.
but they are. How tall is Zeus? Do you think? Yeah, I don't know how tall.
Couple feet.
2 feet? 2 feet tall?
I don't know. How tall are you, Zeus?
He's got little tiny legs.
Give me your foot. As long as my fingers to my elbow, whatever that is.
Not even that tall.
Maybe almost 2 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, not very tall. Just a little guy.
So Kimberly's hay bag question
Kimberly's hay bag question
was: is there a certain height they should be hung at? Because
Low.
she had heard that if it was too high, it's bad for their back.
Kimberly, you've seen that article that somebody chucked around for a while there. There's a. I've actually thought about doing a weekly news segment video where I talk about all the horse news that. I mean, I read a lot of stuff. Anyways, one of the things that came out was a lady that did a study on, and I think it's an inconclusive and improper study. I'm not a big fan of it, but I do believe part of it. So here's the part I believe. And if this is not what you looked at and you saw something else, well, terrific. But this is also this is probably something that backed that up, or one was built off of the other, I expect, because it's recent, relatively recent. And so the study that this person did was determining that a horse's back becomes more concave, or what's the other word I'm looking for? Lower, essentially. So if the butt's here and the withers are here, then the back would come down like that, compared to not eating out of a hay bag, where it would be much straighter. The butt's here, the withers are here, and there would be a slight slope. All horses back have a slight, well, not all, most of them have a slight slope to them. But if you use a hay bag, it's going to have a much, so that they were advocating feed your horse on the floor. Don't feed him with hay bags. But I think one of the items that was missed out in this study was where the hay bag is placed. And I think that there are a lot of horses that have hay bags where they're eating like a giraffe. up high. I've seen lots of those, and mainly because they've got shoes on. And lots of horses will paw at their hay bag, and if they get their shoe caught on that hay bag, it's not coming off, or the shoe's coming off, or the hay bag's coming off, one or the other.
Mm.
Um, and so you can't use hay bags for shod horses unless you put it up higher than they can paw at. So people will put it up a little above chest height, kind of like that, or higher. Two reasons you should never do this. One, um, well, possibly the back has problems. It's true. I don't know. I've never done it. Our horses' hay bags are much lower. Not shod. Another reason I don't shoe. Um, so I don't know about that part. I believe it, but I do wish that the study was a little bit better done, um, especially with more than one horse.
Well,
one,
it was
one
one
picture,
horse.
one picture of one horse.
But was there actually one horse or just one picture?
Well, if you can't produce conclusive material that says I did 10 horses
Yeah.
and they were fed on the ground for one
Yeah.
week and they were fed in really high hay nuts the next week, and this is the difference in their value, then you don't have a proper science. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's fine. The biggest reason you don't want to feed your horse that high, and I know of a horse that died of this particular problem, and he was always fed up here at head height. Um, and for quite a while, for over a year or so, he had what's it called? It's a respiratory issue. Somebody clue me in. Somebody write a comment. It's a respiratory issue. It's a respiratory problem. And the solution is to give them pills for allergies. I think it is. And this horse had perpetual respiratory problems, and it ended up being put down after a year or two. Whether this is the exact cause of it, I don't know, but it's been proven that this effect, that the effect of putting a hay bag high, highly contributes to the problem. And essentially, what it is that hay is dusty, and as the horse moves the hay bag and shakes the hay bag and tries to bite out of the hay bag, the dust comes down and settles inside of the nose. And because they're eating up all the time, it just keeps draining back and draining back and draining back into the sinus system. Strangles is not what I'm.
No. Okay.
Um, strangles is different. Strangles is a neurological issue. No, but it does start with an S. I can't remember. Somebody find it out. It's gonna drive me nuts. It's a different problem. Anyways, so essentially, because the hay bags are high, dust gets in. They get this sinus problem and breathing problem, and it's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So you really do want to feed low for that one reason. The second reason you absolutely want to feed low is, and I've talked to a very informed horse dentist about this, and he actually did a whole session on this one topic, and it's the TMJ, the temporal mandibular joint. And we have it as well. We have the same thing. If you tilt your head down, your bottom jaw naturally comes forward. If you tilt your head back, your bottom jaw naturally goes back. Horses have evolved and grown, and to this day, it's not like it's any different, that when they eat, their jaw works much better when it's forward, meaning that their head is down. Their natural jaw movement will be forward, and they'll eat in a down. But when they eat up high, their jaw is either straight or back, and it's actually very unhealthy both for the joint and the teeth. And so there's two very good reasons. Whether or not that back problem exists, I'm not sure. I've never seen anything beyond that particular article that I saw. But I think it's legitimate. Yeah, I think it could be it's very probable, high probability, I would say, based off of my opinion, I guess you say for that. So yeah, absolutely. There's many reasons, two main reasons, health reasons. to have the hay bag low. I mean, almost ground level if you can. It becomes a bit of a pain to put it ground level, um, really ground level, because they can, if they poop and stuff like that, if you can get it just a little above the ground. We've got a couple of mares here that pee in their shelters, and so all of the shelters here are built though so that anything, any water or any urine does slope away from the food area. They're built for that. I anticipated how horses are. So they've all got a slope that goes away, but they'll still poop in there and they might kick it around or it's overly rainy or snowy or something like that. So the hay bag being off the ground an inch or two um, is great. As low as you can get them is best for the horse. Does that help? Hopefully.
Well, it's Kimberly, so I'm sure she'll tell
Kimberly will tell me. Yeah.
you. I don't see anything else.
So. Oh, Instagram girl is gone to bed. She wants to see horsey check tomorrow. I'll go do a midnight horsey check. I should do that one day. Actually, I thought about doing a lazy horsey check where I send the drone out. I got all kinds of ideas. See, never turns off. Neat. It's actually a pretty good view.
Yeah.
It's wide though, eh? That is really wide.
That's why I thought one of your videos you would use the GoPro, and then you said it was your new phone. I was surprised because it's got that sort of fisheye look to it.
Yeah, oh, that's loud. That's neat. First time I looked at my screen so far.
Kimberly says, "Super, thanks, very helpful."
TMJ surgery is fraught with problems, sort of like a no man's land. So good to hear you did well. Somebody carried TMJ issues. Well, David's walking the dog.
Yeah, Pike needs to go for a spin.
Cartilage on one side, repaired the other. Wow, that's crazy. Talking about Zeus.
Yep.
Yeah, I still get asked daily, almost daily, if I go somewhere new, and Zeus is always with me. He's in the truck. Let him out, have some water, go pee or whatever. And people perpetually, oh, how is he corgi? What kind of dog is he? And no, he's Australian cow dog.
No.
It's embarrassing to be called a corgi. Even Zeus starts to growl a little.
He does not.
Barb says we're gal in our area doing amazing dressage on a barefoot horse and a rope halter. That's awesome. You know, you see it when okay. So here's the thing about in the horse world is there's plenty of people who are really really good with horses, but they don't have any technical skills. They certainly don't have a YouTube channel that has any viewers on it. They're just really good at what they do. Once in a while you'll get one, and once in a while even more you'll have somebody who will find them. And then once in a blue moon, maybe one of their videos happens to go viral for some reason and so on. I mean, mostly on Facebook. So I don't think it would happen on YouTube. And so you'll find these people. There's plenty of them out there that don't need a bunch of gimmicks and gadgets and all kinds of stuff to make their horse do things that the dressage world seems to think are required. So, good.
You see the last question?
There's a question? No, I'm scrolling upwards.
Do you do training work on Peggy and Ruli?
No, oh, you missed one from 8 Pine.
Oh, sorry.
She says, who taught you to do horses' hooves?
Oh, that's right. I did see that. I forgot. Sorry.
Good thing I'm scrolling backwards.
Good thing you're scrolling.
Sorry. So what'd you just ask me?
Sue asked if you train Peggy and Ruli.
Nah, I don't mess with Peggy really much. I train them to accept lots of hugs.
Peggy today. She accepted.
She's so funny. It's probably why she veers away from me when I go to pet her. I'm like, Peggy, come here. Every horse she checks is like, Peggy, you want to scratch? She's like, yeah, I know what you're gonna do.
Hug me.
Because I literally, when I go to feed her, I'll throw the hay bag in, and I climb through the fence, and I put it on, and she's usually waiting. I'm like, and I just maul her because she's getting pretty fuzzy right now.
Yeah.
She's such a nice horse. So
Not specifically trained, but even with Ruli, helping her.
really, I'll give scratches too.
Well, and
and
she's got
whatnot.
some medical things going on, and then you're very good at helping doctor.
I try to help her owner quite a bit.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't really work. I mean, I do Ruli's feet, and make sure that she doesn't leave the halter in properly. I try to make sure she maintains her manners. So I think the regular stuff, which I don't know if it's regular, it's regular for me.
Yeah.
Where I want every horse here to just be good, and don't try to say to me it's unacceptable to pick up your feet, or don't try to say that you want to run off from the halter when I put you out to play with everybody and stuff like that. Those are just natural good things to have. And the owner shows up and says, "Oh, my horse is really polite" or something, and that's a good thing. That's something where,
yeah,
just think it's just what you do.
The train every day is what you do. So who taught you? Mm-hmm.
Right. Okay. Question: who taught you to do horses' hooves? I get this question a reasonable amount, especially when I'm working on somebody's horse's hooves. They'll say to me, "I actually just last week I was out trimming 3 horses at one place, and one of them just came out of shoes. The other one has just got naturally amazing, awesome. I mean, it is like carving a piece of oak, 100-year oak. You're just, ooh, I don't want to make any mistakes. Just really beautiful feet. And then another one that's sort of halfway there to getting pretty good. And that owner was there. And she says, oh, she's watching me through all 3 because she was there for all 3 horses. And she says, how did you learn how to do this? Or who taught you? Or I mean, where did you get this skill? Or why do you, she had a few questions. Why do you use the techniques that you do use? Did somebody teach you that? And one of the odd techniques, it seems is an odd thing, that people have noted, is that I only use a rasp. I never use nippers. I have a little tiny pair of nippers. If you guys have seen any of the hoof trimming videos, you see I have a tiny pair of nippers. And I use those on a bars. And sometimes there'll be some weird stuff on a frog that I'll use. It's just an easier tool to deal with. But for the whole hoof wall, I'll only use a rasp. And that's not something that I picked up from anybody. That's something I picked up while working on it and realizing that nippers are a pain. They're hard to use, for one. And 2, they're inaccurate unless you really, 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 really practice. And even at that, you're still going to be rasping anyways. And I don't come across feet that are so bad that I need to nip off an inch of hoof very often. It's unusual for me to see those. So even if I do, just a rasp. A properly used rasp can take off a lot of hoof in just one swipe. So that's a good rasp, like one that's not overly used or rusty or anything. It's sharp. And so my answer really was to that. A lot of the things that I've learned to do now are learned from my own experiences. Originally, though, I picked up some stuff from my vet who put on a clinic doing dissections, which led me down the path of doing more dissections, to do more understanding of what's inside of the hoof and understand the biology of it a lot more. And from there, I picked up a lot of information through books and videos. I have not had somebody who has been beside me trimming hooves while I watched them trim.
That's incredible.
Not one person. Anybody that I've ever watched, I've thought I would do it a little different, or a lot different for that matter. But I would do it different, I think, based on, and it comes down to being diligent about the science of why the hoof is built the way it is, understanding each piece of the hoof, the structure of it, the placement of each part of it and why it's there. and how much you can take, when you can take it, why you can take it, why you can't take it. All of that is just pure science. And then once in a while, there's some art. Once in a while, there's just making it look beautiful, even though you may not need to. Um, and it just looks really, really nice and maintains nicely. So, yeah, nobody specifically taught me. I went to a lot of different um, resources to get to where I am now, and I'm still looking at stuff. I'm still weekly, not daily anymore, but weekly, looking at things and thinking, oh yeah, that's kind of an interesting way to do that. I get that. Or reaffirming my own thoughts. Actually, it's quite often because I critically think my way through a lot of things. I think, is this the right thing to do? Why is it the right thing to do? What happens here? Why does this happen like this? Um, so hopefully that helps. So
Um,
that's why, actually, one quick thing. Why I usually say to people, anybody can learn how to trim hooves. Um, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So there.
what I have a question. What are the most frequent mistakes you see new horse owners make?
Holy crap! Who's asking that?
Barb.
Barb. Barb, that's a big question. Um, but it's a good question. Very good question. um, let's see. The most common um, mistake I see, and I don't blame anybody for it, because even very experienced horse owners, or experienced as in they've had a lot of time around horses, do this. But one of the biggest things that I try my very hardest to try to explain and correct is actually just simply leading a horse. Um, More often than not, in videos or TV shows or documentaries or whatever, all these things, you'll see people leading and their horses beside them, if not slightly ahead of them, where literally you have a blind spot to whatever side the horse is on. You cannot see the other side of your horse. Um, so my biggest, one of the first things that I'm working on with new owners is to get rid of that visual in their head. Their horse should be beside them, as if that's a safer place for their horse to be. Way too many stories, way too many experiences of horses being beside a person and breaking their feet or their collarbone or their leg or their arm or giving them a concussion. Ridiculously common. So the biggest mistake is to remove the or thing that I'm the biggest mistake is leading the horse. So I'm trying to remove this visual in their head. The horse has to be anywhere near them at all to lead them. And so that's a safety. Most of the things that I look at are usually safety related. Um, the other, and I don't know if this is a mistake, I think it's a natural response, um, is when things start to go sideways, people hold on to their horses tighter, uh, as if they're going to wrestle them into submission somehow and bring them closer in. It's crazy to me based on what I know. But it's not like I started out any different. I thought I watched everybody around me and they were all doing that. And so I was like, oh, I guess my horse needs to be beside me or near me, or I should walk my horse like this. But I learned way different, relatively early on, that that is absolutely nowhere where a horse should be, is near me, especially a ridiculous one that is amped up or worried or something. So those are the two most common things, I'd say, and they're both sort of safety based. I don't know if that helps. I think that's good. Should I come up with another one?
Well, I don't know. It's up to you, but there is a question there's two questions. So Kimberly says, Tana sometimes gets worried and becomes like a 1,500-pound lap dog. I'm getting her to respect my space, but she creeps forward. I move her back. What else can I do to reassure her that she's okay? Great question.
Aw. It is encouraging to hear that. Um, okay, so uh, I've probably talked about this, but um, I'm going to cover it all for everybody here. um, the the idea that when your horse is scared, it tries to get closer to you. Um, it's two things. First, it's scary. Uh, when a horse is scared, they're very, very big. They're very, very fast. They're very, very heavy. Um, and they're going to try to tell you where to go because you're attached to them with a piece of rope and they know it. Oddly enough, horses don't generally think that they can whip the rope out of your hands, even though they certainly can. I've had it happen plenty of times. One second I have a horse, and the other second I have no horse, no rope. Where'd my rope go? Oh, it's with my horse. Over there. Crap. So the idea that when they're scared, they want to come closer and snuggle up. Uh, Two problems with that. One, they're big, heavy, kind of scary. To be closer means that you're in harm's way. We are much smaller. We are much slower, as you've seen in the video of Gracie when she went to kick me. And I have plenty of others. Horses are way too fast. We are so slow. We are like sloths to a horse. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
And that high awareness should be in place at all times when you're around horses. No two ways about it. So they snuggle they snuggle up close and like, hey, being near you is safe. Little do they know that there is absolutely no safety in being close to some 100 to 200 pound human being, if not less, that clearly has no weapons of any use whatsoever with our tiny little teeth and our no nails, hands, and if we're lucky, we might be able to punch or kick something. And we certainly can't run very fast at all either. So we're borderline useless to a horse. Yet they come, snuggle up, and think that there's something good there. In the case that they think that you are higher on the ladder, that is a good thing. Mentally, not physically. The second thing about that is if you are lower on the ladder, they're getting close because you are attached to them with a rope. And again, weirdly enough, they have no idea that they can just run off if they were to choose to do so. And you would be totally screwed. You would have no horse, no rope, and you'd probably be in trouble because they just finished running somebody over. But they don't. Through a series of classical training, we teach them that the halter means a lot. Not to all horses, though. So anyways, so when they do get closer and you are lower on the ladder, they are essentially going to push you around. So as I've said many, many times to many, many people, always make sure you are just a little bit above. You are 51% of the partnership. They are 49. So the idea that they want to be close, you have to determine whether it's good or not. I'm a fan of it. I'm a fan that they want to be close, but I'm not a fan of them coming close unless I say you can come close. So that's where our line, our judgment has to come into effect and says this is safe or not safe. We're going with the idea that it's not safe for the most part, unless it's a very quiet and they're kind of creeping up because they know you're going to scratch them somewhere. But if they're worried and stuff like that and they just want to be close, it is natural. Very, very natural. You watch horses out there when we do horsey behavior videos, these guys are standing this close to each other, if not touching, regularly. It is normal. It feels good. It's herd mentality. So they're going to want to put their nose hairs maybe on your sleeve or on the small of your back. Or maybe they want to put their whole head on your shoulder like Luke does. He's like, hey man, Kalunk. I got a horse on the side here. Totally dangerous, but I let him do it because he's a spoiled brat and that kind of stuff. And so, no, I'd say to most, don't break those rules. Make sure your horse is further away. Snuggle time is inappropriate for the most part. If you're going to break the rule, you must know that you're going to be breaking it and suffering the consequence at one point. Maybe. How do you get a horse to feel like they must ask to come up? Well, there must be a 110% consistency of saying, don't come near me. Don't come near me. Don't come near me. And reach to them. So you've probably seen me do it. I'll have a horse on a lead rope. My muscle memory is just impeccable with this now. I even think about it and I think I draw this hand and I reach with that hand. I don't want them leaving. So when I go to reach for them, I don't want them to go anywhere. So I'll just double check and I'll make sure to draw. But I want them out there. I'll go to them. So with consistency, you can say, I know you're scared, but don't come near me because you're freaking me out and I want to go home in the same vehicle I came in because that's a good thing. And you say, freak out over there. That's fine. When they calm down, pet them, reassure, go and be near them. Sooner or later, that classical conditioning training program will take effect and they'll say, well, I really want you near me. If I stand here, will you come near me? And you do, especially if they're reaching for you, which Tana generally does quite a lot of. She's a great communicator. Then you can go be near her. But when you walk away, she should stay back. So consistently work on having her stay back a little bit until you get to, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, to where you have her 15 feet away on a long line or something like that. And she just stands there waiting for you to go to her or waiting for you to draw her in. But that super duper consistent of training of don't come to me until I'm ready for you. I mean, be hyper aware of it, hyper vigilant, and they will wait patiently because they'll be looking for the positive and reassurance. And they'll just feel more comfortable because they know through consistency that you will go to them. You will reassure them. You will make them feel good. You promise that. You make that deal with them and you make it 100%, horses love it. They love it. Horsey hugs all around.
Why are you talking horsey hugs?
This fire is hot, man. I take my shirt off, but this is a live stream.
Woohoo!
So get away from the fire, then I'll be out of frame.
No. Yeah. No, definitely stay next to the fire.
I gotta open the window or door.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Unknown says, are there any similarities in training horses and dogs? I'm thinking of Sleeping Zeus here. We say this all the time.
Are there any similarities between
like 1,000-pound
horses and dogs? There are a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
In fact, there are a lot of similarities. What are you doing with your finger?
Nothing.
Did you hurt it?
Yeah.
What did you hurt it with? The firewood? Oh,
No.
You burnt it.
Yeah.
Oh, you burn yourself all the time.
I burn myself all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't dinner. Surprisingly, I made a lovely dinner and didn't burn myself. So instead, you'll have to put the nice piece in because now I'm afraid I burnt it on the glass. Poor Jenny.
Jeez.
It's the thing I do. I burn myself.
Yeah, she does.
All the time.
Okay, training dogs and horses and kids and maybe other adults.
What? How not to burn yourself?
Yeah, there's piles and piles of similarities and I mean, as I've said a cajillion times, classical conditioning is, your rinse and repeat is needed sort of training approach is highly effective for anything. It doesn't matter the animal. It really doesn't. You could probably train a ladybug. See, my brain started going. You already knew that. It's like he's off thinking about training a ladybug.
Yeah. You're like, I need a
Oh,
ladybug
I
to
could do
train.
that. Because of the ladybug hauling water video. Um, so I don't know how I could talk about the similarities other than literally, um, again, consistent reinforcement, negative or positive, can always have the effect that you desire if done all the time. Right, Jen? That's why you
Exactly.
did the dishes.
Oh, stop! Oh my goodness. Uh
Get a little low.
huh.
Totally kidding.
Yeah, there's no more. So
Oh,
no way. You can have coffee next
oh yeah.
with whipped cream.
I bought whipped cream. Bought whipped cream. I love whipped cream on my coffee. I try not to, but I burnt a lot of calories today, so I'm good. Solid like a rock. Anyhow, any more questions? Hopefully
That was your whole
that.
answer to the training one?
Well, I don't
Oh,
know. I mean,
okay.
what could you do? Okay, so say for example you want to train a. I don't know.
No, there's another question anyway.
I think that's
Oh,
that's probably the.
you just need a pole now? What does that mean? That's Mr. Unknown.
Oh, for taking my shirt off. So
Oh!
that would probably be the easiest way I'd probably answer about training dogs or horses. I don't really train dogs. I've got Zeus. I mean, I play with dogs quite a bit. We've got Rooney as well, and um, you know, being firm but soft
Yeah.
is really effective for anything, for children especially. I
Yeah,
suppose.
we always say that there's a connection
Yeah,
between
yeah.
horses and kids and
dogs,
dogs.
horses, cats. I have
Boundaries.
two cats.
You
I
had two
train my cats.
Yeah, I mean, I only met one cat, but it was amazing.
Highly trained cat.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I just kept working on things.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely cat.
Yeah. The rules are the rules, and they don't change. But there's lots of love in between there.
Yeah, you get wishy washy and you turn into Luke. Zeus is dreaming.
Oh.
Can you guys see him twitching? Can they see? Can you?
Well, they can only
Oh,
see
yeah.
his butt, basically. It's like the back end of a sausage going on here. Um, there was something. Oh no, that's the poll comment, but there were other.
Oh, I see. Prayer or predator. There. I should probably try to talk to. I know somebody who does nothing but dog training for a job. Um, and she's very knowledgeable, very educated person. Always looking to learn stuff. So I respect that person. I will ask these questions because I'm interested as well. I think it's a very good question. I do believe that there are many similarities despite being prey or predator. Um, Mainly because no matter what, we are predator to the predators. We are predators to the prey. Dog Zeus, the dog predator, must see me as a predator. He must. It's natural as the higher predator. So he must be the equivalent of a prey animal. Other than he might protect himself, although I've never seen him do so. So yeah.
Virtual reality video. What is that?
What are we doing now?
You have a virtual reality video?
Yeah, with the game. Beat Saber.
Is that what you guys do?
No, the one where I did the video and
Oh, I was like, this is what you guys do together?
David hasn't tried VR yet. I told him to,
David.
but he won't do it.
He's got the moves. You do.
Absolutely,
You're insane.
tip-top at Beat
Yes,
Saber.
yes, you
Love it.
are. Yeah.
Training cats is almost similar to horses with a silent body language. Cats are phenomenal. They're really interesting. I enjoyed working with a cat. I don't know if I want another cat. I keep getting asked if I get some kittens. I was asked just this morning, actually. You ever get some kittens? No.
Who asked you if you're getting
Haley
kids?
did.
Oh, I see.
And I said, no, I don't think so, because then they turn into ugly cats. Cats are adorable. I
That's
love
the
cats.
deal.
Actually,
No,
I don't think
nobody
there's any.
likes cats.
I like cats.
You had one good cat. That cat today in the
I had two good
backyard.
cats.
Weird. I know, but I never got.
That cat came upstairs.
I told you. It just comes in my house. Okay, somebody did say something. Why do dogs know their names and horses don't? Or maybe they do, but don't want you to know. Actually, some horses respond to names. I know that. I've watched it.
I think weird things about calling out a name for an animal. I think, well, here's the deal. What they've done is they've done some science in determining what amount of sound or uh, what spectrum of sound horses can hear, or what sounds horses. How does it even work?
I don't know what you're saying, so I don't know.
They've determined that horses can only hear 8 sounds or something, or 12 sounds or something like that. See, it's the same problem with that nasal problem. Nobody ever found out the nasal problem, did they? What's the
You?
nasal problem with horses? It's real.
Oh, I don't
There's
know.
a real
I
word
thought you
for
were talking
it.
about the nasal thing about like that woman this
I've
morning we
had it.
heard.
Since nobody will figure it out for me, I'm gonna figure it out.
Decibels, Sue's saying. Sound waves, Mr. Unknown saying.
Respiratory problem.
Graham means frequency of sounds.
I'm figuring out the respiratory thing for a second. They cough a lot with this particular problem.
Comprehend.
Heaves. Heaves in horses. No, that's not it. Hang on.
What?
Yeah, heaves. Yep, heaves. So,
I do not like your phone there. I don't know what's that. I just look like I ate you for dinner.
what's the matter, Zeus? What do you got, buddy? Is it a bear?
Come here. What's wrong?
Well, go get it. What are you doing?
He doesn't want to be on camera anymore. He scooched himself up. You can barely see him.
Heaves. Okay, that's the first one. What's the next thing I was answering?
Oh, my poor fingers are so burnt.
What was the next thing I was answering?
The nasal thing?
No, I just answered that. It's heaves.
Frequency of something you were talking
right.
about.
The amount of sounds that sounds. A horse. Google's amazing. I mean, so they can hear higher frequencies, but that's not what I'm looking for. They can only understand a particular amount of sounds. So, for example, humans are really, really good at separating out sounds. That's why we can talk, probably. I mean, we recognize there's a whole bunch of sounds to speak and communicate. But horses can't do that. They only have a particular range of sounds that they understand. So the idea that you can call out your horse's name like Lena or Luke or with Zeus, Zeus. Even now he's just inanimate, doesn't care. So there's that problem. But I'm skeptical of that. If you were to call out something that sounded like Lena, like Gina or Krina, I don't know, these are weird words, but I think that she would still come. For example, if she came to Lena. And I don't think it would matter what the first sound was, kr or j or m or p, because the ina sounds good. So I'm skeptical on the name thing. And I've called my cat sometimes, and I don't use the right word, and it's a different word.
Well, Zeus has had 100.
Zeus has had a lot of names. I've given him at least 6 names.
Yeah.
And he comes to all of them.
Any of them, yeah.
If you sound excited enough, a dog will show up.
Woo! There's a party over here.
I'm not sure about the name thing. I don't know.
And horses might just assume they usually tend to get grain or fed or brought in from a field.
And you scratch them and stuff like that.
Especially on a field, people say they can call their horses across the field, but there's always a reward.
It's more classical training.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Pavlov's dog.
David in VR, you gotta try VR, man. I was telling you about, at least do the painting thing. It is fascinating. Fascinating. You paint in 360 degrees in 3D. So different. You paint like you're just painting the air. It's awesome. I was gonna do a video about it, but I don't know. I might. It'd be fun. I'm not a very good painter though. That's the problem. Actually, I did do one recently that I thought was pretty good. So I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, so we'll give it a go.
Catherine says the cats pick up training quickly. They do. They're smarty pants. I really like training cats. They're fun. I discovered the Catherine Perry says I discovered the Equitopia Center on YouTube today. I was enormously impressed with the science they use and immediately thought of you. Did you follow this site at all? No, but I'm gonna go search it out right now. Equitopia, right? Equitopia. What? Wait. Center on YouTube. Okay. Go. 2,500 subscribers. It's a smaller channel than mine. What they got going on? Oh, right. Because this one came up. This one came up and recommended the 24 behaviors of pain in the ridden horse. And I just thought, oh man, are you sure? How are you going to back that up in 3 minutes? So I didn't end up watching it, but maybe I should. All their videos are so short, so I have a problem. Oh, maybe not.
I don't think they've been around long. And then she said, yes.
Recognizing subtle lameness. And the picture they have is a horse and bit being crunched under and frothing at the mouth. Yeah, that'd be a good start. Choosing a trim, Anatomy and Theory, part 1 of a 2-part series. 8 months ago. Where's part 2?
You can get access to the longer ones. I guess you have to get access, like by paying.
Oh, yeah. On a tiny little channel, they're making you pay?
I don't know if you're paying. She just said you can get it.
How to trim to the plane of the coffin bone. That's not a good idea. Sorry, guys, just looking at a channel right now because it's recommended. I respect all recommendations. I check out everybody that says you should go check something out. Engaging your horse from Westbrook with John Lyons. John Lyons is a relatively respected person. Top 6 signs your saddle may be hurting your horse. Recognizing
I don't know
tactile
enough
syndrome.
about them yet, but it fascinates me.
Oh, it's great. You know, you overcoming the 5 main areas of pain caused by the bridle with William Mickle. Look at the picture they used for the bridle about 3/4 of the way down. A horse with a tongue out. Where do they get these pictures from? Are they allowed to use them? Because most people will be like, don't use that picture. It's embarrassing. I don't know. Hey, somebody already thumbs down this video.
Which one? The one we're watching?
The one we're doing.
What?
That's fine.
Why is that fine?
I don't know. What are you going to do? There's somebody out there that thumbs down just about every one of my videos.
Yeah,
one person.
Yeah. It was me. I'm just kidding. I thumbs down myself.
Whatever. It's a live video, so it shows up on YouTube's live video streaming thingy.
Yeah, David said that. I noticed that a while ago, the thumbs down thing. Every video. Yeah, it's true. It's a troll or somebody. Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
What?
Ida says trolls.
Yeah. I did that.
What do you...
So she had asked if the equine horsemanship had thought, do you like the Think Like a Horse channel?
Yeah, I just saw that too.
She wrote it a while ago, but I forgot to answer.
Once in a while, that channel comes up in the comments.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And uh, I have responded to that, and I'm happy to share my responses. And somebody responded to me, so I'm going to look at that. Just 2 seconds here. Okay, here we go. So somebody had I'll read my comment. I'll read the comment that came before that. And a lady had been going through a few of the videos, and she's got lovely things to say, nothing but good things to say. And she says, I know you don't care much for Rick Gore, but the two of you are very similar in that you both feel the same way about good horsemanship. You're just a nice version of a horseman. But then again, all good horsemen do it basically the same way. It's just a matter of understanding the horse. So I said, I'm very thankful for positive feedback, compliments that come through. I get a lot of them. Majority of the comments that come through are positive, complimentary about myself or the horses or anybody that's here, things that we kind of do here. And once in a while, I'll get these. I'll get these comments that somebody pays attention to Think Like a Horse channel and makes a comparison to me. And I was talking to Sean Davies over at Colorado Rainsman when I went down to Colorado, and we chatted about it in person. But he has also been compared. It seems that there are a few people that go and consider that there should be a comparison made. And we both feel the same way. And it's not generally an area that I try to go into because I'm not looking to find bad things about people. I'm not looking to discourage anybody from choosing to watch things that I might not like or do things that I might not want to do or whatever. So I don't actively go about saying anything about that channel. The short answer is I have absolutely no respect for the way he goes about teaching horsemanship. I think that, and Sean put it best. To be honest, I saw one of Sean's comments a long time ago. Somebody said that. And the most important thing to consider when you watch somebody do what he does in his videos is that you're never helping the horse by trashing, I mean, utterly trashing the owner of the horse. If you've got to make a living on YouTube by trashing people, I mean, utterly shredding them, insulting them, putting them down, disrespecting them behind their back, that's not a horseman. That's not a good person to me. If you're looking for the positive and you're trying to give constructive feedback, and you're doing it in a way that points out what could be done better, not how bad somebody is doing, or calling them names, just abusive names, something you would not do in person, but seem to be able to be free to do on the internet, and advocating other people to do, telling people to call other people names. And it is a well-practiced method to devalue other human beings by labeling them with something derogatory. That is not a horseman. So I have zero respect for anything he has to say, whether he's right or not, about how badly a horse has been treated, how badly a horse has been trained, or how bad some types of horsemanship are. That is not the way to teach it, and I wish it would stop. That's my opinion. There you go. That help?
Yeah, a lot of people agree. Mr. Unknown had said that he thought he had good ideas, but yeah, he's offensive and derogatory. And Ida, I always say it wrong.
Ida.
Ida, sorry, Ida, I always say it wrong. Said the same thing. He's just rude.
There's he's an older person, and you can only imagine that at that age, if he is that far into being mean, I guess is the simplest way to put it. I can only imagine what his younger years look like. And the idea or even the concept of being kind would fail this person completely. It just would not.
Do you think, like here,
But then there's the other. I have a feeling you're going to say he's so passionate about it. All he knows is to be angry about.
No. I think that what I was gonna say is that who he is and always has been, or did he get ratings because he would say barn witches and these dumb women, and so he got followers, and that fed his ego and fed his channel, and so he perpetuates this character of who he should be and becomes more and more demeaning because he got more and more followers. I don't necessarily know that there's a link to if you met him 20 years beforehand. No, I agree, but you said imagine how he is now, imagine what he was like then. And I'm saying, is it because of who he is, or is it because it's the internet success he's had based on being so awful that he then perpetuates that by becoming a falsity? He's not truly that person. I mean, he could be, but it could also just be a fake person, a persona of who he is.
He has two channels.
Oh, okay.
He has another channel that he regularly posts on because he used to be a cop.
Yes.
And everything he puts in there as well mimics a lot
police
of this.
officers.
And none of it is good.
Positive.
Like it's very drama based. So has he fallen into the role? At this point, for the present, irrelevant. Am I correct about whether he's like that in the past? I don't know. I am making an assumption.
Yeah.
I think
I just find it interesting, but I agree with you for sure. I just mean I find that fascinating.
It's true. Yeah, somebody could easily be a particular way and get worse. Or don't you get do you get worse when you get older? Or do you start to have more? I mean, I guess it depends on the person.
Exactly. And the feedback you're getting.
Now we're into psychology.
Yes. But and the feedback you're getting, if you're getting lots of positive feedback, whereas then people are responding to you, you're getting likes, you're getting followers, then you would amp that up. You would keep going with that. If he never got anywhere, if people hated him, he would stop.
Dog training on as well. Doesn't even own a dog.
What? He has a dog, doesn't he?
No.
Oh.
Did he get a dog? Who cares? I don't want to talk about him.
I know.
I'm not interested in. I don't even want to know. But I would imagine it's probably similar to everything else. It's just a spouting of anger, a spouting of negativity, and I just don't think that. I mean, one of the questions I was asked: would you let your kid watch him? Would you want your kid to be him? Do you want that mindset of looking at people and calling them names, of looking at them and thinking they're stupid, they're dumb, they're that mindset that is just over and over and over? Name calling is the first place to go when you want to devalue somebody as a person. That is a fact. And it's subjective. It's not even objective. You killed the fire.
Well, I told you to take care of it. It hurt my fingers so
Oh,
bad
there
to
goes.
do it.
Look,
I
I
did
looked
it.
at
Don't
it and
worry.
it lit up.
Look, sure. I looked. It's going. I'm fine.
There's the piece. There's one piece that's. We'll put a little piece. We won't go for too much further. There's no more little pieces. Oh, here's one. Ah, it's hot, eh?
Yeah, well, so my fingers certainly just burned.
Squeak. Anyhow, so yeah, I don't recommend, advocate, or anything checking out that guy's stuff.
David and Eight Pine are talking about Rally. Really? Is that the girl that I've seen?
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that one.
Yeah. Okay. She's also another drama meets drama meets drama. Looking for conflict all the time.
I think
Bye
that
bye, Susie.
you can't be a horse person with the mindset that you're looking for drama, you're looking for negativity regularly. That is whether or not he or this other girl has trained themselves to come out of that mode and look for the positive, reach for the good. I don't know, but the personification. Uh, the way they carry themselves online doesn't tell me anything good. That's probably the best way to put
Yes.
it. And I think that the more you watch something or somebody that personifies these behaviors of negativity or looking for negativity or spouting out negative words and disrespect and mean, and again, I can't say this enough. It is all done behind people's backs. It is not done with permission. It is not done with permission to use their stuff under the guise of education. It is wrong. It is wrong to do. I don't care if it's fair use in education. It is garbage. It is not good. But he gets away with it. And people love it.
Yeah, shock value has,
And people love it.
unfortunately.
Ida says I'm the complete opposite.
Yes.
Thanks, Ida.
No kidding, Ida.
It would be funny. I've had a few people send me, hey, what do you think of this and what do you think of that? And I think, I don't really think I'd like that. I prefer to do, and I sort of think about how I would explain what I think of the video without being mean or rude or nasty to the person. Because if that person ever watched, I'd want them to look at me and say, thanks. That's nice of you. Because you're never going to reach anybody by being mean to them. You're never going to make a difference if you're calling them names, if you're telling other people to call them names, if you're doing nothing but look for the negative. You will never reach that person. In other words, the effect that he has is not only negligible or zero, it's a negative effect. If you have a negative effect on the person you're thinking you might be able to or should be changing, it's what is the word for that?
Mm-hmm. Well, he sort of immediately wipes out the female population of anyone following him. So
Well, they're all females
he
that
just,
follow him.
well, it's ridiculous. He's so
Weird.
disrespectful. But there is a question. So, they're talking about Gracie's eyes and why does she swing her head that way? Oh, Gracie and her head toss.
Yeah, nobody knows. Nobody knows why Gracie chucks her head around and is silly about things. Like that. It's likely alert behavior. I've seen standardbreds do it, and now Arabians do it. I've heard people say that Arabians do it. It's an Arabian thing. It's a standardbred thing too, just so you know. They've learned it. It seems to be some kind of signal that they're irritated or they'd like something to be different. That's what it equates to when I watch Gracie do it. It's frustration.
Like stamping your
It's
feet as a kid or something.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
stamping your feet as a kid,
Interesting.
or
Yeah.
growling as a dog,
Yeah.
or Zeus every once in a while. He'll let me know he's irritated. So you're just that's bizarre. You think, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? What's the matter? You know, and so Gracie, um, if she does it to me, and I've asked her to walk away, and she does it, I'll chase her a little further. I'll say, you go a little further then. If you feel like you've got enough time to shake your head around, you're not worried about me. Shaking your head around means you got to take your eyes off me completely. There's no way
Yeah.
she can track my movement while shaking her head around. So if she's doing that, she's, as some people put it, being disrespectful. But what I see it more of as she feels like she has the leeway enough to express her frustration without worrying about whether or not I'm going to do something about it. Now, whether or not it has any effect of me actually doing something about it, I think it does. And the reason I think it does is because as I sort of chase her off a little bit more, a little further, she gets a little more uncomfortable and starts to settle in because she knows that when she settles in, I'll go to her. And that feels good. Horses love that.
You should say
Horses love it.
little Gracie's little move today when it was Lena and Luke and Macaroni all in the middle, and Gracie's doing her ridiculousness up and down in front of them, and they didn't.
She was nuts.
That was funny. They didn't even blink.
I didn't have the camera out at all. I think I got. I'm gonna take a video of today. Not the crane. The crane was yesterday.
No, I don't think you took anything.
I feel like I took video of something. Salmon.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But yeah, Gracie was crazy today, and we had four other horses in there at the same time, and they literally just ignored her while she did circles around them and kicking and shaking her head, and none of them cared. They just tuned her or appeared to tune her right out. It was hilarious. It was funny. It was good times. Not for her, but
Isis is saying her new recruit is a total rock star. That's
yeah.
So good.
Isis is here. Hey, Isis. Yeah, she's got a good horsey there. Kathy, you're right. I agree 100% with this. I actually comment on it here and there when I'm teaching new people, and I'm talking about safety. I'm talking about this, that, and the other. And I said the problem is I've seen too much of the danger. I've seen too many accidents. I've heard about it. I read too many stories, and you get into the mindset. And I actually usually say, like the police, where you could be not in uniform, walking down the road and thinking that guy has a gun. That lady there, she's probably a problem. That over there, that's an abused child. And you start feeling very cynical about life. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, Gracie would make an excellent endurance horse. She's a pretty good sprinter. I don't know about endurance, maybe.
And I feel Mr. Unknown, he says he feels sorry for her because of social. I actually feel the same way. She needs.
Well, that's why we put her out every day.
I know. We're trying.
We're gonna put her. One of the projects that was being worked on today is actually for her.
Mm-hmm.
It's to rebuild, or not rebuild, to build,
Fence.
not rebuild it because it needs to be built first. The fence for the forest pack to put her with somebody, so she can, and to change out that somebody regularly.
Yeah, I'm really fighting for Lena. That's my vote because Lena's top mare. And she needs someone that can get her in. She needs it in. It'll be hard, but she needs to figure it out with Lena.
Yeah.
Because Peggy's not high enough on the total pole. Nobody else is. The boys aren't getting her in.
Catherine says she needs a job and a daily activity with her person. Yeah, I do something with her all the time, but it's not really. It's not going to get her any better with the horses.
No, that's the thing. You're right. She needs to be in the herd.
She's great with people.
And yeah,
She halted her today.
Oh my goodness, yes.
No problem.
When I was in the arena, she came over to me from the back of the arena.
Good
she
with
came
people.
all the way up, trying to, hey, me next.
Yeah.
but she
Give her to
doesn't fit
people.
into the herd.
Much better with people.
Yeah.
In fact, I've almost got her to where she'll put her nose in the halter.
Nice.
Yeah.
She didn't move for me, but I love that she came up.
Yeah.
I kept
No,
giving her big
she's
scratches.
doing
Good
she's
girl
doing
for
really
coming to
well.
me. But she needs the mare to introduce her as acceptable. But she needs to not act like a ding dong either.
It's just a little. Kai says, "You ever put Lena and Gracie in the arena together?" Yeah, quite often.
Yeah, yeah.
I had Lena and Luke for a little while together, and they had a lot of fun. Um, Lena and or yeah, Lena and Gracie, they do okay. Gracie sort of runs around, and then Lena's pretty calm and sort of tunes her out.
Just sounds there. Yeah.
Just ends up doing
That's what I
nothing.
mean, that living together would be different. She'd have to learn more manners.
Yeah, she's not accepted into the herd because she's
No.
too unstable. I mean,
Yeah, she
they
kind of freaks
they
out.
can't sniff noses without her.
Yeah.
It's just like a. It's really, yeah, dangerous. I wouldn't want to be friends with her either. Get away from me, you crazy Arabian. Isis says she has tremendous potential. She does.
She does.
That's why I keep working with her.
That's why I really want her to find her voice.
Dee says, "Where'd you get those pillow chairs?" Japan. Japan. Along with the couch, piano. What else did I bring back today? Bunch of stuff. I lived in Japan for a while, and I bought this awesome couch, or at least I like it. And it's got a table in the middle, and it folds out and folds back in, and then the couch just turns back into a couch. And then these things are used all the time in Japan. It is actually unusual to have a couch, for most, not all, but quite a few. And chairs like these you would have, and then you'd have your table, and you'd eat on the floor, watch TV, and so these are great because they actually recline as well. They don't just sit up straight, and I love them. I've kept them. I've had them for 15, 20 years.
Keep doing
20
that
years
there,
probably,
buddy.
I guess. Holy crap, this thing's
You're old.
It's been a while. Good.
Catherine was asking, did Gracie get socialization in her early years then?
Yeah. We don't think she got a lot. We've heard that she didn't get a lot. She got some though.
Yeah, she did. She was put in an arena with her siblings all the time. They said.
Yeah, but she didn't get along, and then she was early on abandoned by her mom. Something like that.
So she's always been a wingnut a little bit.
I says, "You brought a couch from Japan." I brought a half container of stuff from Japan, like one of those shipping containers.
Did you?
It was half full. That was expensive too. Cost a lot of money to
How
do
much
that.
was that?
10 grand.
What?
Yeah. But it was door to door shipping.
Wow.
They
okay.
came,
Yeah.
they packed it all, it took 3 weeks to arrive, and they unpacked it and put it all in the house, and it was 10 grand. Half a container.
Did you bring your bed?
No, I bought that.
Would you bring those half a container?
I know, just thinking about that now.
Here it is.
There's
This is the container.
Oh, I had a lot of books, a lot of boxes of stuff.
Oh, I see. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
a lot of smaller
yeah.
things, but furniture.
Yeah. Interesting. See, I'm learning too. I'm still gonna love his cats. Not mine.
Jen does not like cats.
I don't love cats. Other than your cat, I liked your cat. Although she was crazy too, right? I mean, she barked up and down the walls. She'd like you until she hissed at you and was, I don't know.
Catherine says that hers did the head tossing when she wanted to play.
Oh. That's not what Gracie's doing, though. I mean, she might be sometimes, but not.
Oh, Kimberly's got something. She says, "I'd be hurt if you said bad things about me.
Yeah.
And my horse behind my back. I like how you're all positive, encouraging, and supportive."
Yeah.
It is unusual for me to sort of talk about, unless I'm really frustrated, really angry at watching somebody do something that is clearly hurting the horse, or teaching somebody to hurt a horse. I'll probably talk about that sometimes, but privately. It's not something you spread around on the internet and
No,
encourage other people to do.
that's what I said. I'm like, you are very encouraging. You really want your clients to succeed. You want the horses to succeed. You want the people to succeed. You're not trying to make fun of anybody.
No.
That's not the goal ever here. Goodness, even for me, when I'm still trying to figure it out.
Or just have to wade through the BS to get them. It's true. And if you can, all power to you, honestly.
Brenda was
There's a
at.
lot of good
Sorry, go
information.
ahead.
There's a lot of good information, unfortunately, but you gotta wait for it. Sorry.
He lived in Japan for 10 years.
Yeah, I was in Japan through most of my 20s, so pretty good time to travel and do my own thing and stuff like that. And yeah, early 20s to early 30s kind of idea. It was great. I loved it. Loved it. Japanese living quarters are tiny, I hear, and so furniture has to serve multiple functions. Wish we had choice like that for small spaces. Um, some places are kind of small, but mostly you just wouldn't have a couch. It just takes up too much space. It's the way. You don't need it. You just sit in these lovely little chairs, which also fold up or fold down, and they can go underneath things. Some people do live in very small spaces. It's kind of expensive to live in the big cities, Tokyo and Osaka, Kyoto, Hiroshima, um, Nagasaki. Okinawa is kind of expensive. Um, Hokkaido is an island. It's usually cheaper because it's sort of way up north. And nobody wants to live there, it seems. Um, just a few years ago? No, no, no. I came back from Japan in 2006. So 13 years ago. According to your age now. That's a while ago. Uh, yeah. Japan was good though. I'd go back for a visit for sure. I would look forward to using Japanese again full time. Get out of English again. Leave English alone for a while. Go back to Japanese full time. Carla says her dad served in Okinawa. I've never been to Okinawa. I went as far south as a what was the name? It was a little island. It was can't remember, but it was way down there, getting close to Okinawa, and just beautiful, warm, beautiful ocean, excellent people, excellent food. I went with a buddy of mine. We did some scuba diving, and then I went again for another trip, a short trip. But the food there was just absolutely delicious. I filled myself up. So I thought I'd explode.
Why was it different?
It's not different, but it was just high quality. It seems like fresher, cleaner. Yeah. Fukuoka? Yeah, I've been to Fukuoka. Which sounds like a bad word, but it is not. It is a place. Fukuoka is the way to pronounce it slower, but Fukuoka is the way to pronounce it normally. He was there several years and only saw one dog. There are plenty of dogs in Japan, that's for sure. Um, Usually those little fluffy things. Can't remember what they're called now.
Pomeranians.
Nah, it's a different name. Maria sent us a bunch of notepad paper with a picture.
Oh, like my beautiful scarfy thing? My handkerchief? That little dog on it?
Maybe. I don't know what that is.
Oh. That's because I took it. It's
That's what it is. Not
Akita. Oh, Akitas. Oh, but the small ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they're popular. Sue, earthquakes, tons of them. But that said, though, my biggest earthquake that I ever experienced was actually in Taipei, in Taiwan. And I was at the 16th or 17th floor of a hotel room for some conference for something. I was speaking at some conference for some tech stuff because I used to do tech. And I was it's the 16th or 17th floor, and they had an 8.2 earthquake or something like that. But it was one of the shaky ones. not the up and down ones. The up and down ones are the really damaging ones, but the shaky ones where the earth just kind of does this. The whole hotel was doing this, and I when I go to a hotel, I don't know if I still do, but I did back then. The air conditioning is very dry, and I suffer dry nose and sinuses and stuff in hotels. So I'll fill the bathtub with hot water and sort of steam the place up a little bit. And so the bath was half full. And when the whole hotel was moving back and forth, the water was sloshing like crazy in the bathtub. So a Shiba Inu, yeah, those are probably popular. So yeah, Japan was good. I enjoyed it. Isis has been there too, so she can relate. Food's great. Love the food there.
I didn't know ISIS was there.
Yeah, Isis was
Visit
there
or
for a bit.
lived?
I don't know. How long were you there for, Isis?
ISIS, how long
I don't
did
remember. It wasn't very long. Not as long as me.
you-
I win.
Of course you say that. Not as long as me. I'm better than you are.
Yeah.
Monique, did I miss Lena's story?
Nope. Nobody's missed Lena's story yet.
1 year. Oh wow.
Oh, it was a whole
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
That was a year. I mean, obviously not as many as 10. You're fine. But still, that's a long time.
Carla. Yes, Monique, I haven't told it. And the thing is, I've told a lot of details so far. I mean, the last live stream, I talked about, that Lena had a really good younger life. From up to a year and a half, she was at the place where she was bred, which I think was in Virginia, if I remember correctly. And then the new owner had her shipped up to Canada. And so she's been up in Canada since she was a year and a half old, kind of thing. But the thing about telling the story is I really wanted to be able to put some visuals to it and some music. I feel like the story deserves it a bit. Um, so in combination with trying to do about a cajillion things here, whether it's the wash station or cleanup or the forest paddock or Lena's paddock or getting rid of debris and foliage and stuff like that, keeping this place mud free. It's difficult to do everything all at once. I'm trying, honestly, but I'm absolutely terrible with trying to figure out exactly how long things take for me to do. As David could probably tell, I don't know if he's here because he's out walking Pike or something, but we were working on the wash station walls, and I was like, okay, we're going to finish this. It easily extended past probably double what I thought it would take compared to. And so I'm working on it. The story is nothing but good. Lena's had a good life. There's a I think there's about a year or two, which is a bit fuzzy, because she was neither here nor with the previous owner. She was leased for a little bit. But I've already told the story of why she's here, and that is simply that she had run through somebody's hand. They didn't feel safe, and as such, she was free. Which is now I understand even more how much it's just just the circumstances that became of it. It wasn't because somebody didn't see the value in her, but just was worried that the value wouldn't be found or something. I'm guessing. Like, that's just a guess. But luckily enough, she arrived here and has been treated awfully well since she's got mostly a pretty good, relaxed life. And her owner was incredibly happy that she's teaching children right now. Lena is a very good teacher, because she's had such a good life. That even as we watch her and I train her and work with her and ride her, it's so easy to tell that she's had a great life, and been treated well with love. Compared to others that are far more scared of things. Lena's got a couple of fears, but they're kind of natural to have. So, very encouraging, really, really happy to have heard from the person. So a lot of the details come out. I really want to kind of put it together and just make it nice though. So, yeah. But I mean, if anybody had any questions, you could ask them. Yeah, some people have asked if she had any babies. No, she hasn't, which is a funny thing because when I first got her, I had my vet come out, and even a year later, I was like, dude, you "You're sure this thing's not pregnant?" And he made this joke. He says, "Oh, it's the little draft in her." Which was funny because she's part draft, part Oldenburg, which we have absolutely been able to verify. Know exactly who her sire is. We don't know the dam, but we know the sire. And so, yeah, no babies. She's not having any babies. Uh, I asked if she'd ever been shod, and the answer was no. So Lena's never experienced having a shoe put on. So that was interesting. Kimberly's off to bed. Good night, Kimberly and Catherine. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. What are we up to in time? What does this say? I don't know how to tell. Let's see. If I play it. What am I talking about? I have the device that is publishing the video. 2 hours. Wowzers. Lots of good questions coming in. But so, it's wonderful. I think I had a few people say that they wish they had pictures of their horse when it was a baby, or if they would be able to trace back its history or find out its training and stuff like that. Um, it is absolutely wonderful to be able to have that. It is it woo, look at that. Ooh, look. Some whipped cream on top. Oh, yummers. Oh, that's good. That's tasty. Um, the best part of it, and I'd really like to find out about Luke. I think there's going to be no way for me to find out about him. Um, but the thing that I was very happy to verify is how she was trained. Some of her little idiosyncrasies that she's got that were actually put in there by the owner. And she says, "I know it's kind of funny or weird, but this is what I did, and that's probably why she does it." And so, um, yeah, just a really cool experience to get to find out um, uh, uh, the history of an animal that can't talk but can show. And you're like, ah, this has got to be here for a reason. Why does this horse? Why does she do this? This has to be. One of the things that she actually does super well that I never train. I mean, I've refined but never really trained into her. Is she side passes like a champ. I mean, almost perfectly. And you kind of think, well, I can use that. That's kind of handy. But where did it come from? Why is this horse got all this education and training in it, but he was free? It's a mystery. And then it all became clear. But the owner was very, very happy, very, very thankful, if anybody's wondering. And she literally said that she'd gone through just tons of the pictures. And I mean, Lena's got to be one of the most documented horses on the internet. Well, maybe not, but getting there. And she says she just bawled her eyes out. She was so happy to see this thing, this horse that she had loved for about 6 years, I think she said, um, before circumstances sort of forced things to change. And she was so happy. That's good. I'm happy too. I love her. Oh man, that is good. I know it's weird, but I generally have, I don't know what time it is. What time is it? 10 o'clock. It's a little late, but if I'm working on videos and stuff like that, I'll definitely put together a nice coffee and last a little bit longer. Okay, where are we at comments? Wow, thanks, Ida. Very, very. Again, I do have um, a video coming soon to everybody that generously gives to the channel, which goes directly to here. There is a corresponding um, thing, object, or product that we can pick up that is working either for the channel or for the horses. And it is very helpful. And I assure you, I've got a really cool thing coming up very soon that I think is going to really enhance some of the ideas, some of the concepts that I've been trying to talk about and teach. So thank you, I really appreciate it very much. Um, It's awesome. Yes, Isis. She was very happy, as I said. She'd like to come visit. She's not in Canada right now, it seems, but she's hoping to come visit at some point. And I said she's always welcome. But I have a feeling she's going to absolutely cry when she gets here and sees her. And yeah, I don't know. It's going to be hard to watch. I think I'll get moved by it as well quite a bit. So we all love her. Thanks, Sue. Absolutely. And in case anybody has not seen this, did not catch the live stream from a while back, this is not far away. This is up. This, I'm gonna make sure you guys can see this. Sue made this. So yes, Sue, you do love her. We know you love her. Look at this painting. That's Lena, obviously. I don't know if the glare from the light. A lovely painting that we keep close. So, just amazing. A great job painting. Oh, Lena. So that's close by. Thank you, Sue.
Carla asked does her owner watch your videos now?
Yeah, well, her owner only got a hold of me recently, so she says she's still checking things out. She's subscribed to the channel, and hit the like on Facebook, so she's paying attention. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older lady, I think. She has grandkids, so that means something. Not like a young person.
Oh, incredible.
Yeah. So that's cool. It was fun to paint her. Yeah. Yeah, I bet. Barb, good question. I actually, or a good statement. It's not even a question. It will be absolutely fascinating to see if Lena responds in some way to this lady.
Ooh.
I've actually tried to call Lena Penny. Didn't I do it on a video? Yeah, I did it on the live stream. The last one. No reaction. She doesn't care. Which again goes back to the idea of whether or not dogs or horses or anything care whether or not they're being called a particular name. Lena didn't seem to care, so. But I do think that she will remember her previous owner, and there will be a reaction, especially if Lena really liked her, which I would imagine she did. But I think there will be a reaction. I think that Lena will perk up or something.
I find that stuff interesting because I was cleaning Ruli's paddock today when her owner arrived, and way up here at the gate, as soon as she rounded that corner and Ruli saw her, that was it. She started making noises and was calling out, and
Oh, really?
yes, I thought it was so fascinating. She was clearly aware that somebody was there and was acting more than normal for other people. And yeah, was really putting on quite a call out show to her owner.
Well, she wasn't doing that before? Sure.
No, because I was in her paddock the whole time. So I'd been there for a while. And I saw the car for a while, but nobody got out of the car. Took a little while to get organized. And it wasn't until she could see her and coming through the gate.
That's a long ways away. That's 300-400
It's a
feet.
long ways away. And that's when she first started calling out and dancing around. And yeah. And then as she got closer and closer, because she came across the bridge, ooh, more and more. I shouldn't be doing horse impressions, but yeah, I shake my head.
Yeah. Prance around.
I forget other people are watching, not just you.
Kick your legs up.
It's not just you that's watching all my.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I think that's fascinating though.
It would be interesting if I would be able to take a camera out while she's here. A lot of people are camera shy, so that's why you only really see me. I am not camera shy.
No.
But yeah, a lot of people are, so I tend not to even ask. Once in a while. You know.
But you could ask, and you could even specify she was concerned of just having it on Lena. You know what I mean? What
take
is
video
that?
for her record. Fireworks, I think.
Oh yeah.
That's a lot of fireworks. Somebody had some
More and more.
leftover. Like, let's blow
Yeah.
them off now.
It's November 2nd. Let's celebrate.
Mm-hmm. Monique says, "Where did the name change happen?" Happened as soon as I got her. I was like, let's name her something. She was named Penny.
Yeah.
And I thought, Penny's not really the name.
We named all of our horses other than Gracie in
Gracie
respect to
stayed
her
the same.
previous owner. Yeah.
Yeah, Gracie stayed the same because her owner, Betty, who I have found other people know, which was very interesting. So I've heard some more stories. Um, in respect of Betty, who was going to send Gracie to me anyways for training. And instead, I got Gracie for life. Maybe not life, we'll see. But just kept her as Gracie.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I was telling Riley's owner today because when I put Macaroni out, she said, "Oh, Gracie's so happy to be in the arena." I said, "That's not Gracie, that's Macaroni." She's like, "Wow, they look alike." I said, "Yeah, that's why I wanted to call Gracie Cheese, Macaroni and Cheese." But
yeah.
in my own mind, she's little baby Cheese.
Well, she's growing up though. She's getting bigger.
Nothing compared to him, though.
Roni's crazy.
Yeah.
Today I looked at him and I thought, man, you've been doing more push-ups. He's bigger. It seems like he's bigger. More muscle.
Is he still growing?
He shouldn't be growing much anymore. He's 8, so he's pretty much reached his max. But he'll get thicker. He'll get stronger.
At night.
It's nuts. That boy has some big muscles. Yeah. It's cool. I like touching them. There's massive muscles on his shoulders, like a bicep. Feels like a bicep muscle. Anyway. Do you think one day Gracie will teach kids like Lena how not to die? Maybe. I don't know. Yes, I
hope so.
plan on working hard on her soon. Oh God, I feel like I'm always saying this. Just one more thing. I just want to get one more thing done.
And then training.
Then I'm going to be all over doing things with her. But I'm doing stuff with her every day, so it's slow and steady with her for sure. But I do want to push it to the next level. I think I can do that pretty quick here. And then in the end, will she work with kids? She'd better be able to, or else it'd be a failure on my part.
Yeah, she just needs.
It'd be embarrassing.
Learning. It's not embarrassing.
I would be embarrassed if I couldn't get her to do that. Be calm. You can halter her now.
Yes,
so
but I mean, of course she is, and I would just say that I don't think it's embarrassing. I think that, you didn't have her from birth. She's very skittery, to get her anywhere. I mean, to get her to the point where she can be haltered is huge. Like, because we forget where she came from, right? I mean,
I don't know what it was that she came from that required so much effort to halter her.
She could not be haltered.
I don't understand that.
I know you don't, because you never had a problem with it. You could pick up her feet. You did all sorts of things with her, but nobody else could. So, if we keep in mind how she was to where she is, it's already huge. She's already made incredible leaps and bounds. That I can go in and halter and take her to the arena and no problem, take it off, walk away. It's not like she has a special owner that has to do it or anything anymore. It can be done by multiple people. It's amazing. It's fantastic. It's great. That's what we want for her.
Isa says use glue and Velcro.
What?
Sue's wondering if I would ride her because of her size. Sue, Gracie's actually getting quite big. Thicker and taller. Originally, no, I thought maybe I shouldn't ride her, but she's getting to where I think that she wouldn't she wouldn't struggle
Hold your weight.
to hold my weight, but I wouldn't ride her for. I mean, she's still young yet, anyway, so I wouldn't ride her for extended amounts whatsoever. But I do think that I can get enough done uh, to where for more extended or longer rides and stuff like that, somebody lighter could take over and do probably quite well with her. So I do plan on riding her. Um, I'm not that big as it is. I'm not that heavy kind of thing, and she is taller than she was before, and she's much thicker than she was before. Very fast, very strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not worried about her in that regard, and she's aged enough that her bones should be fusing in the places that they should be fusing, and healthily. She hasn't been loaded up for the time that she's never been, obviously never been ridden or messed around with before me. And the maximum that I've kind of done is sort of laid over top of her or put some weight on her from the stairs and stuff like that, so that she could start to figure out her balance a little bit. But yeah, I'm not worried at all. I think she'll do very well.
Send ads.
Mm-hmm. Brenda thinks I'm good at something. What am I good at? David says there's fireworks going off in downtown too. Weird. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It was pretty loud. Yeah, it was going for a bit, but it's stopped now. So we did have a topic to talk about, but
Yeah.
I don't think I want to get into anything deeper
No.
anymore. I'm good. It's been a couple hours.
Yeah, I know.
Fire is done very well. It's probably heated up most of the house, maybe. I'm cooling it off with the door open though.
Yeah.
It's too hot for me. It's a good day. Very good day. Very productive. The salmon video was taken this morning at Elko Park. Our salmon are spawning at the moment. Jesus doesn't want to go outside. So it was a good opportunity to head down there and wander into the river a little with my leaky boots, which I've discovered this morning.
Yeah. Whoops.
Cold, wet feet. I got out of there. Oh well.
All the name of this video. It's all good. It's worth it.
Yeah. What I should get is a really long pole so that I can just kind of put the camera up.
Now you definitely need layers. Oh, I thought it would have been fascinating to get video of those seagulls. I think that's neat. Oh, I thought they were so cool.
Dipping underwater.
Yeah. All the way into the tips of their wings and then coming back out again. That's just fascinating.
Oh, I see. Gracie's results are credit to me being. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that a lot. Carla says, I saw something I wanted to tell you. Well, type away. What is it? Swimming with the salmon. Sue says she really liked the something picture. What is that? Looks like a tomato. Oh, ladybug.
Yeah. The tomato picture. Sue loves tomatoes.
It's a small little
Emoji.
emoji. The ladybug. Oh man, the
Yeah.
ladybug is amazing. I caught it by pure fluke. It wasn't really something I've gone looking for. It was just sitting on top of a post and I happened to catch it out of the corner of my eye or something. And then I saw that it was carrying water. And then I saw some ants. And then some ant crawled on top of the ladybug and I happened to have my camera right there at the time. So took a picture. Why not?
Yeah.
You don't get to see that very often. I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Oh, Carla says those huge orange mushrooms in your yard. She saw that they were poisonous.
Yeah, they probably are. Most mushrooms are. The ones that are here are possibly poisonous. The ones that I took that were really big and round on top, not my yard. They're actually near elementary school, the road. And those ones I would imagine are poisonous, yeah. A lot of mushrooms are, but we just look at them, take pictures, and move on.
Hmm.
Although I did want to capture them and sprinkle them out there somewhere so I could seed them. Supposedly, it's very easy to seed mushrooms.
My yard says yes. Oh God,
Yeah,
that's
so you
it.
just check them out.
David says the thumbs down is gone now. So everybody's saying that's weird.
The thumbs down is gone
Yeah,
now.
I said peer pressure. We shamed them into taking it
Oh,
back.
weird.
Don't you thumbs down us? Split personality. That's funny.
Peer pressure. Maybe that person
Exactly.
got the answer that they wanted to as they stayed longer in the chat. Like, oh, got the answer. I like you now. Bam.
Now I like you.
But it doesn't look like there's an increase in thumbs up. Is there? Hard to tell. Can't tell.
Oh.
I don't know. Who cares? It's fine. It's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, I think people just find it interesting. We won somebody over.
Hmm. Yeah.
Or we did one of these.
Shame,
Shame,
shame.
shame. It's funny how you know that it's a sort of not
It's
quite
not funny at all.
universal,
It's
but
Canadian.
shame.
Everybody knows
How
that.
do you know it's Canadian? Does everyone know what this means? David said some sort of saying that he claimed was from where he was, but nobody else has ever heard of it. What is it? Like, oh yeah, like shit on a wool blanket.
That's an old one. Yeah, I think that was used in the army or something. It was more of an army thing. I don't know why.
I
Triggered
never
in my
heard
head.
that. It stuck to something, and
Yeah.
I've got a couple really bad ones, but so I won't say them because they're terrible. But my family didn't say that one. We said our own terrible ones.
Well, I think Jen's gonna entertain you guys for the next
What?
little while. I'm tired.
Oh sure.
I've done all the
Nothing to
talking I
say.
can do.
All I could do is talk about changing diapers and feeding babies. I could train toddlers, but not horses. Toddlers aren't scary. They're not 1,000 pounds.
No. Yeah, that question about what's the most common mistake, it really is probably something along the lines of don't trust your horse.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, prepare so that you can anticipate and keep yourself out of trouble. That's my biggest thing I'm trying to work on. Because you just never know. Although you
No,
can't be edgy around them. You can't be edgy and
no.
scared.
That's what we say. It's that interesting fine line of being confident yet respectful of the fact that they're 1,000 pound animals.
This was the original topic we were going
Yeah,
to try to get into,
yeah.
but
We won't get into it.
no.
But anyway, that's what we keep saying. That there's a fine line there.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
very important.
You're going to hang around with horses, you got to understand that one day you will get hurt. You're going to ride horses, you have to understand that one day you will fall off. But how you prepare for that will determine whether or not you get hurt a lot, a little, not at all. So, a lot of it is experience, though. Stuff you're like, wow, I never expected that to happen. And then you get that experience and you think, that could happen in the future.
Yeah, now you know what you're looking for.
Yeah. Although a good teacher will prepare
Mm-hmm.
a student for all kinds of trouble.
Until not they become complacent.
Yeah, becoming complacent, too trusting.
Mm-hmm.
And being overly confident, having too much experience can also lead to that. There's plenty of times I think, whoop, shouldn't let my guard down. Got overconfident.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because I find that even with, I put Lena away all the time, and no matter what you do, she will just move herself around you. But with Gracie, I thought, just you move your bum that way before I'm going to let you off because I don't want you to just give a little kick as you go out, just for funsies even.
Yeah.
And so, but you just can become so sort of, yeah, Luke would never do anything, Macaroni will never do anything, Lena will never do anything, that you just sort of, go through the motions versus being aware. You can't ever check out. Ooh, Kimberly did say something actually a long time ago. Sorry, Kimberly. She's gone anyway. She had mentioned that people have their cell phones while they're riding in the arena. And she was curious what you thought about that. Somebody else had actually said that they use it to track their ride, which I think is not what she was referring to. I think she meant people sitting on their phones and just sort of scrolling or taking selfies while they're just kind of sitting on their horse. I have a feeling she wasn't talking about people that are just tracking it. Because you would just start it and then put it away. You don't need it to track it. But anyway, sorry, Kimberly.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I ever have to get on my phone while I'm riding, I get worried. Mostly because I don't want to drop my phone.
Yeah, true enough.
I think when my phone's not in a nice, safe, zipped up pocket and I'm on a horse and I have to control it with that horse with one hand, my biggest fear is actually dropping my phone and breaking it. Because I'll drop that thing before I lose control, before I have to do anything else. I'll have to get rid of that somehow. I will not risk my health for a phone. Knowing that, I think I'm taking a risk by pulling out my phone and doing something with it while riding a horse. High risk situation. Yeah, Isis thinks it's crazy too. No, everybody's going to bed. I'm going to bed too.
Me too.
Thanks everybody for coming in.
Those are gooders.
It was awesome. It was really good. Ida, thank you again. Um, just amazing. Really, really amazing. I got lots to say about that. I'm going to leave that for an actual dedicated video, but thank you. And thanks everybody for your questions. They're great questions. And hopefully the questions that you ask, just like going to a clinic or a class or something like that, the questions that other people ask, other people might have, but they might not have the courage to say. There are 25 people in here, and there are maybe 6 to 8 people talking. So if we think about that, there's 16 other people that are just quiet and watching, and maybe they'll have one of their questions asked because they're a little bit shy or worried or don't want to look dumb. And that's normal. It's totally normal. Sooner or later, you'll have enough confidence to think, this guy never thinks any question is dumb. I think I'll just ask. And maybe that takes time, and that's cool as well. So questions are great. Any questions you think you even know the answer to, you just want, I think maybe other people might have a question. It's great. It's great to get these questions in, and I can chuck some answers out there, and maybe they're good, maybe they're not. But it's been a good time chit chatting with everybody. So we're out.
We're out. Good night. Yeah, no kidding. Ta-ta.
Yeah.
Busy day tomorrow.
Yeah, another busy day. What's to do? So good night, everybody. Wherever you are on the planet, whether morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Have a good one. And we'll see you guys again probably tomorrow. Oh, Lemon Kid says goodbye. I didn't see a Lemon Kid in here.
No,
Thanks for saying goodbye.